What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out why no military on Earth could survive invading the United States. This is by a relatively small channel called Law Made Casual. They've got 3.61 thousand subscribers. So let's get them to 10,000 subscribers. There will be a link down below to the original video. Head over to the original video, link down below. Let's go give them some love. The original human community loves to send subscribers to other people. So go over there, go subscribe to them. Let's have some fun with this video. Before we get started, though, check out Chug, 10% off, link down below. Listen, it's Christmas. It's Christmas and you deserve to treat yourself. Or someone in your family deserves to be treated. They need to sit down and relax on a Friday with a nice cold beverage in the Chug, watching Band of Brothers or Black Hawk Down. Get yourself a Chug, 10% off, link down below. Free customization, free bag. You're not going to get a better deal anywhere else. The new version now can be dismantled so you can wash it easier in the dishwasher. I can't recommend it enough, guys. There's a reason they've been a sponsor on this channel for over a year now. And I haven't had a sponsor that long on this channel in the 5 years that I've been doing this. So go check it out if you haven't already. Also, if you haven't seen, I made a drink called Morale. Because it's a healthy, energizing drink that boosts your morale. It tastes so good. I'm trying not to drink all my supply. It's wild berry flavored with Scottish raspberries. Oh, it's beautiful. You can buy it in the UK. Hopefully it'll come out in America soon. But the idea of this drink, it's a healthy drink utilizing functional mushrooms. We're trying to get people outside. That's it. We're just trying to get as many people outside as possible, learning the names of the trees in their area and the fungi and the animals that move through. I saw this beautiful, massive owl. As of recording this, I don't know when this video will go out, but it was yesterday when I saw the owl in my garden. Look at this. Is it going to focus? Come on. Focus. Focus. Anyway, massive owl. Like, the picture doesn't do it justice. It's on my Instagram. In fact, if you go to this Instagram right here, to know which direction to point then, you'll see a video of it. And they think it actually might have... we think it might be an eagle owl, which is one of the biggest owls in the world. And... it might have escaped from someone, and if it hasn't, and it's a one that's come, from nature, there's only 12 to 20 breeding pairs in the UK. It's important to know that stuff. It's important to know everything around you in nature. It's so important. That's all we're trying to do with Morale, is get people outside. It's as simple as that. If that resonates with you, head to the Instagram or go to the YouTube channel. If you go to this video is in collaboration with Drink Morale. So if you go to the subscribe button down below and click it, it won't subscribe to Original Human. It'll come up with both channels, and you can go over to that one and check it out, okay? That's all we're trying to do, get people outside as much as possible. I think it's really important these days to disconnect from the online world and reconnect with the real world, all right? Let's have some fun with this. Let's do some theories. Let's do some ideas, and let's see what this individual has to say about a military invading America.
Picture every country as a medieval castle, complete with towering walls, secret traps, and all sorts of defenses to protect the crown. In this scenario, the United States stands out as the toughest castle in the world. So, when someone asks, what would it really take to invade the United States? It opens up a fascinating conversation about how geography, demographics, and military strength come together to make the US one of the hardest countries to invade in modern history.
Let's be honest, America is the modern day Rome, right? No one said Rome would fall. America could certainly fall. In fact, we're seeing the start of them cracks appearing, and it never falls from the outside. It falls from within. We're well aware of that. I don't really care what side of the political spectrum you're on. We're well aware that is most likely the downfall of America is within.
But to understand why invading America is so difficult, we need to start with what makes invasions successful in the first place. Military historians point to several key factors: the element of surprise, manageable supply lines, and...
Let's be honest, surprise isn't... It's 2025. We've got satellites everywhere. Here in the UK, we do. In America, you guarantee it's almost like the UK, but on steroids, right? They'll have satellites looking at every single tiny little area that can possibly be invaded. There's just no penetrating it when it comes to intelligence these days, is there?
Crucially, the ability to establish a foothold and expand from there. It just so happens that America's unique geographic position eliminates almost every advantage that has made invasions in the past possible.
Yeah.
Let's start with the most obvious barrier, the oceans. The United States sits between two of the world's largest bodies of water. The Atlantic Ocean stretches roughly 3,000 miles to Europe, while the Pacific spans an even more formidable 5,000 miles to Asia.
Yeah.
But it's not just about distance, it's about what that distance means for a would-be invader. You see, modern naval warfare depends heavily on supply chains, fuel, and the ability to maintain communication across vast distances. Any naval force attempting to cross either ocean to invade America would be operating at the extreme limits of its logistical capabilities.
Yeah, so we know they would never be able to do it over the sea. We're well aware of that. I think the only way that some sort of invasion of America could happen would be if things were smuggled in and it happened from within, but almost like some sort of foreign country just slowly like importing stuff in and creating some sort of small militia within. We hear this with the whole like sleeper cell things. It's kind of like that idea. I think that's why a lot of people get so paranoid about sleeper cells when it comes to, I think like China's got sleeper cells there or whatever. The idea that it could have happened, like it could be happening from within, like it's already, everything's being imported and there's like secret militias within that can just, from a text or a message saying, go do it now, could kick off. I think that is more likely. I think with how large America is and with how much product is constantly going back and forward from that country, that's probably like the biggest way to do it. But going direct with ships across the ocean, America would have seen it miles away.
Consider this. The D-Day invasion, one of the most successful amphibious assaults in history, involved crossing just 100 miles of the English Channel.
Yeah.
Roughly speaking, it required approximately 156,000 Allied troops, around 5,000 ships,
Wow.
and months of preparation, all supported by established bases in Britain. Now imagine scaling that operation across 3,000 to 5,000 miles of open ocean, with no friendly territory to stage from.
Yeah.
The logistics behind such an invasion become even more daunting when you consider detection. Modern satellite surveillance, radar networks, and maritime patrol aircraft make it virtually impossible to move large naval forces without anybody noticing. Any invasion fleet would be spotted days, if not weeks, before reaching American shores.
It's not even that. America would know just from intelligence that it was going to happen in the first place. So they wouldn't even be able to plan it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't even be able to get onto the ships because America would be like, they're trying to do something here. They'd be checking the comms. If you don't think the CIA are just like listening and looking at everything you do online, then you're completely oblivious. Let's be honest. I think what's super interesting is we were all well aware that the only way America would fall would be within, right? It's the same with any NATO country at this point. At the end of the day, NATO it's still solid. And if anything happened to a NATO country, everyone would get involved. We know that, right? Whether there's threats from Trump saying, oh, I wouldn't help with NATO and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Everyone would help with NATO if it kicked off, right? And so I think the only way that it would happen would be from within. And that's either these small militias, which would get put down very quickly because every single individual in America pretty much has a gun. In fact, there's more guns in America than there is people, right? And so that would get put down quite quickly. I think, just like Rome, it would be political. I think what we will see is this big movement, I think, because I don't think the West is going to last forever. Nothing lasts forever, right? Let's be honest. Nothing lasts forever. Even human existence won't last forever. And my thought is, what we're going to see over the next few hundred years, in my opinion, is this shift in the West from large government bodies. I think what will happen is these rich people will slowly, the distance between the common folk and these rich people will get even bigger, and the common folk will have to resort to small governing within like small communities again. That's the way I kind of see it happening. I just don't think the way it's working right now is going to last forever, and it'll turn back to, I mean, how many people do you speak to these days that are like, I want to buy land with my friends and grow food together and kind of look after each other? Like, this small kind of communal aspect is becoming huge now in both America and here in Britain. And so the only way that America at this point will fall is just through politics. Let's be honest.
Giving U.S. forces
Ran
more
over.
than enough time to prepare defensive positions. But what about launching an invasion from neighboring countries? After all, the United States shares borders with Canada and Mexico.
Listen, Canada are French at heart, and if the French are good at anything, it's not fighting. As a Brit, I've got to give the French a dig. And listen, Canada, you have French blood running through you. Do you know what I mean? So you're gonna have a bit of tendency to surrender and run away. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a thing. I'm gonna rustle some feathers saying that. Listen, it's all in good heart. I love the French.
That creates vulnerability, right? Unfortunately for any invader, they're deeply integrated into American military and economic systems. Canada is a NATO member and one of America's closest security partners. Mexico, while not in NATO, has extensive military cooperation agreements with the US and depends heavily on American trade. For any hostile nation to use these countries as invasion routes, they would first need to conquer or coerce them. In other words, they would essentially have to launch two separate military campaigns before even reaching American territory. This would require force projections of unprecedented scale and would trigger immediate American response. But let's imagine, hypothetically, that all of that somehow became possible. Even then, the geographic challenges are staggering. An invasion from the north would have to cross the Canadian Shield, a massive area of rocky terrain and forests, then navigate the Great Lakes region. The US military could easily cut supply lines by controlling key transportation hubs like Winnipeg or Thunder Bay.
That works both ways as well. When I was living in Maine, because I lived in Maine for 7 years, Canada supply a lot of power to that area of the US, a lot of power. And so it could easily, supply chains can very easily work both ways, and they could cut off power to some states. With that being said, though, everyone in Maine had guns as well.
Effectively isolating any northern advance. From the south, invaders would face a large concentration of American military power. Recent deployments have placed thousands of American troops along the Mexican border. Any large-scale military movement would once again be detected immediately. And the attacking force would have to advance through some of the most challenging terrain in North America, including the Sonoran and Chihuahuan deserts. But here's where America's defensive advantages become even more pronounced. Let's say the invading force somehow established a foothold on American soil. They would immediately confront what you could call a natural defensive line. The United States is essentially divided by a series of geographic barriers.
If you haven't seen the terrain in America as well, from 2021 to 2023, I traveled America in a converted school bus with my family. It was beautiful. It was amazing. When you actually start to see the terrain of America, it blows your mind just on firstly, how many different terrains there are. Go up north, like I said, in Maine, in the winter, it's horrendous. You go down to like Arizona in the summer, and it is horrendous. You could go to places like White Sands, which is bizarre, or Redwood National Park, which is beautifully magical, but also very weird. Like, the terrain varies so much. The one invading force would have to be so adaptive. They would have to be so good at adapting to different terrains. Jungle warfare, desert warfare, mountain warfare, everything. Snowy climates. Like, they would have to be like practically special forces to be able to adapt to all that stuff, or at least some sort of commando trained or para-regiment trained. They would have to be unbelievably good to be good soldiers in all different environments like that.
That would force any invading army to fight for every mile of advance. The Rocky Mountain chain runs like a spine through the western part of the country,
and it's
creating
beautiful.
Natural choke points that favor America.
Yeah.
The Mississippi River system divides the country into distinct regions, each requiring separate river crossings under fire. Military history shows us how devastating river crossings can be. During the Civil War, battles like Fredericksburg and Antietam demonstrated the enormous casualties that result from forced river crossings.
Hold up, what a fucking brilliant video this is. I've not heard of any of these things. I get sent videos like this, like, can America, how strong is America? And I expect kind of the same information just recycled all the time, but they're getting into historical stuff here. Yo, this channel only's got like 5,000 subscribers. Maybe it'll be the next big thing. Maybe it'll be the next big thing. This is pretty sick.
Against prepared defenses. Now imagine attempting such crossings against modern military technology, precision artillery, air support, and guided munitions, all directed by satellite surveillance and real-time intelligence. There is absolutely no shot of sustaining an invasion in this case.
Yeah.
But perhaps America's most unique defensive advantage is its civilian population. Specifically, its relationship with firearms.
Yeah.
The United States has the highest rate of civilian gun ownership in the
Firstly, I didn't know the Falklands Islands had so much gun ownership, which makes complete sense. But I thought Switzerland had more guns per person. I could have sworn. Wasn't there a video not long ago that said Switzerland has the most guns per person? Huh.
world, with 120.5 firearms for every 100 civilians. To put that into perspective, Switzerland only has 27.58 firearms for every 100 civilians.
Oh.
This creates a scenario that military planners would probably call a strategic nightmare. It's one thing to defeat a conventional army. It's different to occupy a territory where a significant portion of the civilian population is armed and more than likely hostile. History provides sobering examples of what this looks like. The Soviets in Afghanistan, the Americans in Iraq, and various other occupations throughout the 20th century demonstrate that even the world's most powerful militaries struggle against determined civilian resistance.
Yeah.
About 72% of American gun owners cite protection as their primary.
Wow, look at that. That's an interesting graph. This video is really good. Major reason, 72% safe protection. Makes sense. 32 for hunting. Yeah, it makes sense. Not a reason. 49% of people said hunting is not the reason they have weapons. That's interesting. 58% say as not part of a gun collection. By the way, if I ever move back to the US again, which who knows, my hope is as I get older, I have a house in both places, the UK and the US, because I'm a citizen in both countries. If I move back to the US, I'm going to get myself a couple. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to have a couple, wouldn't it?
Reason for ownership, suggesting a population already mentally prepared for defensive scenarios. Then there's the simple matter of scale. The United States covers approximately 3.7 million square miles, making it the third largest country in the world by land area.
Yeah.
It is larger than Australia, which has an area of about 2.9 million square miles. The US is more than twice the size of the European Union, which covers around 1.7 million square miles.
Yeah.
Additionally, the US is roughly comparable in size to the entire continent of Europe,
It's
which
crazy
has an area
that,
of about 3.9 million square miles.
That's absolutely crazy. That it's practically the size of the whole of Europe. Mental.
The distances involved are shocking from a military perspective. The distance from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles is about 2,700 miles.
Wow.
In order to sustain any kind of invasion on America, the occupying force would need to maintain supply lines across these vast distances, while facing constant harassment from both organized military resistance and civilian populations.
Yeah.
Modern military thinking focuses on quick and decisive actions, because long campaigns can get really expensive and hard to manage.
I think the only one way it could be invaded is if America is genuinely falling because of politics and there's internal fighting through civil war or something like that, and then a country takes advantage of that and then goes in. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if the US ever did go into civil war again, which I don't think it will, but if it did, firstly, there wouldn't be much of a civil war because politically right now, left or right, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, but one of the sides has a lot more guns than the other. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I think that there wouldn't be much of a fight there. Let's be honest. Listen, I think because I grew up in England, which is a bit more of a progressively thinking place, we don't have guns and stuff like that. I think naturally because of that, I lean to more progressive values, right? Like I didn't think back in the day that everyone should have guns and stuff like that. But even I am well aware that there is one side that has more guns than the other. And so if a civil war did kick off, wouldn't be much fighting going on, would there? Let's be honest. And if it did invade because of a civil war, I think it would get stomped out so quick.
Given the vast size of the United States, pulling off a rapid takeover is pretty much impossible, and keeping troops in place for a long time would cost a fortune. Consider the economic cost for America during the Iraq and Afghanistan campaigns. Both campaigns involved far smaller territories and populations, but still cost the United States trillions of dollars over 2 decades. The scale required to occupy a territory the size of America would dwarf these figures by orders of magnitude. Of course, there's one last factor: nuclear weapons. The United States...
I hope the planet never sees another nuclear bomb go off. I really do.
...maintains one of the world's largest nuclear arsenals. And American nuclear doctrine makes it clear that existential threats to the homeland would likely trigger nuclear response. This creates what is also known as mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
Any conventional invasion large enough to threaten American territory would likely escalate to nuclear conflict long before achieving its objectives. This reality fundamentally changes the calculus for any potential adversary that is thinking about invading America. So, to return to our original question, what would it really take to
It's practically impossible. That's the answer. It's practically impossible.
invade the United States? The answer to that question reveals why no serious military strategist considers a conventional invasion of America a viable option. It simply just wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Where do you think America stacks up in terms of national defense?
Okay.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
What a great video. What a great video. Law Made Casual. It's this relatively small channel. They've only got 8 videos. Look at this. They've only got 8 videos. I've been sent that a lot. And what's interesting is I get sent these kind of like how strong is America videos all the time. And like I said, for the most part, it's the same material recycled all the time. That one was actually really decent. Head over. There'll be a link down below. Let's get them to 10,000. They're only at 3.6 thousand subscribers. Let's get them to 10,000 subs, guys. All right? They deserve it. That was a great video. I'll leave a link down below in the description. Check it out. Also, check out Chug if you haven't already. 10% off link down below. And check out Morale if you haven't already. And let's get people outside more. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.